Hey guys, Tim here. I was reminded recently of a story that took place a few years ago that I think is a perfect illustration of the power of team culture. My oldest son, Noah, played soccer from the time he was 3 until the time he was about 11. And one year, when he was maybe 7 or 8 years old, he played on a team that was just not very good. They tried hard, they were well coached, they just didn't win any games. In fact, they didn't win any games. And I remember getting to the last game of the season, and they were, winless. And we go out to the soccer complex for the last game of the season, and there was about a 30-mile-an-hour consistent wind that day, blowing east to west, which was the orientation of the soccer fields. And the first half, we thought they were going to get creamed, and they wound up holding their own because the wind was in their face. The other team was always playing offense. So Noah's team's, playing defense the whole first half, and they managed to hold them to only one or two goals. So halftime comes, second half starts, they switch ends of the field, and Noah's team just came alive. They spent the entire second half at the other end of the field, always playing offense, the wind in their favor. The other team would kick the ball as hard as they could, and it would just fly up into the wind. And it's like it hit a wall, and it came right back at them. They wound up scoring 7 or 8 goals in that second half, won the game. They were so excited. It was such a big deal. And that stuck with me. And it stuck with me because it reminds me of the power of team culture. Wind is an interesting phenomenon. I don't know if you've ever thought about it, but it's unseen. You can't see wind, but it's also unstoppable. There's not much you can do against it other than wait for it to die down or figure out a way to get out of it. You can't really battle the wind very well. And much like the wind, your organizational culture is invisible, but it's also very, very tangible. And I'm here to tell you it is either working for you or it's working against you. And it very likely may explain why you can't seem to get anything done. Or it may explain why you get things done with ease. I get some pushback on this idea. The pushback seems to come from people whose organizational culture is okay, so they kind of take it for granted. But there are two groups that don't push back on this at all. The first group is groups that have great organizational culture. And they absolutely buy into this, and they celebrate it, and they leverage it in their favor. The second group is those groups of people who have horrible organizational culture. And maybe that's you. Maybe that's your team. Maybe that's your organization. Maybe that's your business. Whatever the case may be, if you're in that second group, drop me a line. I'd love to sit down and talk with you about some changes that we could make to help your organization win. Thanks.